Greetings and salutations, people of the internet. It's good to have you here. Appreciate you showing up. As you can see, the frequency within which I do lives is going up again. But it's just so much to cover, having just a vicious World War III. I mean, we've been in World War III, you could argue, since World War II, when America became the world police. We've been killing millions of people around the world for a very long time, but now we're seeing an escalation. There's a lot of devastation going on in Tel Aviv. People are actually celebrating it. It's actually songs put out. Well, some of them were put out around the 12-Day War. One of them, but I just discovered them. One of them was Boom, 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 Tel Aviv. And it's just like they've been playing that over the missiles hitting Israel. People are celebrating. I don't, like I said, it's hard for me to celebrate any population being bombed like that because I know the Israelis can be pretty hateful, especially towards the Palestinians, like all the videos of them mocking them. And it's like just all kinds of shit that they were posting that's just inhumane and horrible. But, it's people who are against it, and I would hate to see America bombed in 2002 when everybody was turned against brown people. And I was identifying as a Muslim because I hated the racism that was being espouted. But it's another song, LGBT, Let's Go Bomb Tel Aviv. That's one I've recently discovered too. And it's just like I hate to see people celebrating the death of civilians. However, I am glad, at least they're not just hating all brown people. It's like it's more nuanced. Like after 2000 and the 9/11, it was just like all white people hated all brown people, and it was just so racist. The hate crimes they saw a significant raise, and it was just like it was crazy. But now people can hate, but it's like a much more nuanced hate. It's like people in a very small country, very small specific part of the world, and they hate them for the reasons of they're facilitating our government run by blackmail pedophiles. And it's just like it's so obvious to everyone. And if you gotta hate somebody, I can understand hating the pedophiles' paradise, which is Israel, because if someone gets caught for pedophilia in America, Israel will embrace them with open arms. Or even if you're not Jewish, like look at someone like Kevin Spacey. I know he was more sexual assault and rape and all that stuff. Probably kids too. But Israel embraced him with open arms, like he's out there doing a one-man show. And you look at someone like Bill Gates. Right now, everyone is disgusted. All of the revelations with the Epstein files, the stuff we found out about him collaborating with Jeffrey Epstein, figure out the final solution for the poor people. And around that time, he was also cooking up some kind of a vaccine. Not saying they're related because the vaccine was great. I'm planning on getting my first vaccine next week. It's like I skipped it around the COVID times, but now it's COVID season, and people are still recommending the vaccine. So it's just like everyone I know who got vaccinated doesn't regret it. So I might as well get caught up with the rest of the class. Or not. I'm still mulling that one over. But he's he's been investing in this fake meat stuff. And I don't eat meat myself. I gave that stuff up. I was living on a farm, told the story before. It's hard to win over the trust of a chicken and then eat it. Plus my landlord at the time, his daughter confessed to killing her mother and chopping up the body. It's not a joke. And they never discovered the body. And they were doing shit like, I've never eaten venison. And this was after the revelation. They were trying to offer me venison. I was like, nah, I'm good. It was just a whole confluence of serendipitous events. Made me just like, I'm gonna give up meat. Damn sure, don't do the fake meat stuff. And this is, if I'm a be unhealthy, it's like, people think just because you give up meat, it's a healthier lifestyle. This fake shit, especially this clone meat that Bill Gates has been pushing, it is the furthest thing from food. It is like, if you're giving up meat for health reasons and you're eating fake meat, that's a bad decision. Like you went backwards. You got further away from whatever your goal was. If you think that this shit is healthy, but yeah, it's causing all kinds of cancers, and it's being pushed by a pedophile who's all about depopulation. And it's just like he's so, his parents were they worked with Planned Parenthood. Margaret Sanger, she was a Klan member called Negroes Weeds. And ironically, look, like this is the thing that really bothers me about these people who want us to call them elite, but they're just like pedophiles. Like this motherfucker like didn't invent shit. It's connected. These are like the face of the creations that we pay for with our tax dollars. So ARPA, DARPA, they created the technology that ended up making him rich. IBM, his parents were connected with IBM, and they were also responsible for the Nazis' computers, right? And they wanted to have an interface that could connect all the computers, and he was the middleman. He knew what they wanted. He got someone else to create it, and then he got rich off of that, and he just connected to the government. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Right. And then, they're able to stay in power because they got so much dirt on them. They know this motherfucker's not going to come out and talk about like the cabal, the child sacrifice, the presidents molesting people. Like they're not going to say anything. They're not going to rock the boat. They're going to bring, if anything, they're going to bring in like some junior pedophiles. Like I know some other pedophiles who can work with us. And that's what and he thinks he's better. He's telling other people we got to lower the population by 10 to 15%. Meanwhile, he's got like 30 kids, and he wouldn't have a scene. No one would ever get naked in front of him if he wasn't the richest man in the world for most of my life. Never like. And he was before we had the Epstein files and all that shit. We had a bunch of complaints about him being a sexual assaulting bitch. Like Microsoft had to step in. Like, Bill, we know this is your company, but like you're overdoing it. He had to step away from the fucking company because he was such a disgusting person, and he's in charge of depopulating the world. One of the most just gross, and it's just like, why haven't we locked him up? Why haven't we like had a crowd of people surround him, like just like tell security move aside, like, bro, we don't want to smoke with you, but we're gonna do something with him right now, and we just bring him to our justice. Now I'm for turning his life of poverty into a television show. And I know we get enough people around, everyone's gonna pull out that guillotine and they're gonna be advocating for that. That's a conversation I'm willing to have, though. And we'll let democracy reign. But this is not democracy. People like this being free, this is a problem, right? And it was just revealed, a continuance of Israeli policy of false flags. Israel, ISIS is known as Israel's Secret Intelligence Service. And they have like multiple members of the Mossad who have infiltrated terrorist organizations, which makes sense because Mossad is a terrorist organization. But associations we know, organizations our government acknowledges are terrorist organizations. The Mossad is they got all their agents all up in that shit. Um, they're trying to provoke uh, all kinds of chaos between the Arab states. So they were bombing Saudi Arabian infrastructure, blaming it on Iran because they want them to continue to fight. And this is it just makes me think of like when America was being stolen, like how they fomented disunity between different tribes. I know they used the same fucking tactics. It's just like it had to have been the same shit. And then they turn one against the other. Um, yeah, and it's just like a bunch of dishonorable people, pedophiles, disgusting human traffickers who think they're better than people, like the Bill Gateses of the time. Like they just like they're in charge of the depopulation of entire areas, and they think they're better. They think that they have the sense of superiority when they're just like, no one wants to fuck you. No, like you have no honor. You have no qualities or traits that make you better than anyone, aside from the fact that you are the Zion of all this power, this unjustified power, and it went to your head. You got the little, like, you send poor people off to die for your wars. The only people you'll put hands on are defenseless women and children at your sacrificial little parties where you're eating child meat and carving up kids and all kinds. Like you just don't you want to see that smug look wiped off of his face? Don't you? If you look at the nutritional profile of these meat replacements, actual meat is so much healthier for you. Yes, no, the meat replacement is like if you're going to do something that looks like a burger that's not meat, make it vegetables. Like do like beans and just squish it together, not with the fake meat bullshit. That is just it's poison. It's a literal poison. The Talmud Jews want to trigger the Samson option so bad. And that's the whole thing. We really we need to make sure they don't have that as an option. All those motherfuckers, like we got to get the blackmail pedophiles out of office. We got to swoop them all up. Like, and I'm play a video of what they think of people. But it was um, an American representative, and this is the cold part because it's a lot of the Indian government is tight with Israel, right? And the Indian government that used to be in there, they started to hate the West, especially with people like Bill Gates. They had a warrant out for his arrest because he was doing all of these vaccines on the Indian people. He was doing it in Africa too. He was bragging about it on camera, like we're taking these genetically modified organisms and we're just injecting them into kids' arms. He was like talking about it like, yeah, that's cool. We're making pride. Like you're not a doctor. That's illegal, what you're describing. But he still walks the streets. India wanted to arrest him, but now we got like a more compliant government in there. And then there was this Indian this American official. He was talking about how they keep the Indian government down.
But again, India should understand that we're not going to make the same mistakes of India that we made with China 20 years ago in terms of saying, oh, we're gonna let you, be able to develop all these markets, and then the next thing we know, you're beating us in a lot of commercial things. We're going to make sure that whatever we do is fair to our people.
He said, we are not going to let you develop. So India, their government is getting involved with the West. The government that they appointed, the West people at the top of the West, they were like, they got a very Western friendly government. And now they got Western officials stepping in like, we are not going to let you develop. You're not going to be China. You're not going to be beating us in all of these markets. You're going to be whatever. And like to that point, the Indian flag, it has a little a wheel on it and the wheel was used to process the textiles, um, which they weren't allowed to do because the West did not want them to compete in their market. They wanted to be the supplier of the raw materials, and then it would get processed in Western countries because they were viewed as smarter. So we get to process the textiles. They don't. They don't. They only have the raw resources, and that's how they oppress them. Then the largest corporation at one point in history was the East India Company, and it was just like it created slavery as we know it. It's responsible for over 100 million Indian deaths. That's why you should never, ever, ever trust white leadership, especially if you're Indian. That's the craziest thing you could do. Um, but yeah, they sold the souls to the devil, and that's the devil saying like, we will never let you develop. And that's what the Africa, they had the same intention with them. But now, Africa, at least the Sahel region, they're kicking the West out. That's why they're threatening to kill the leadership out there. Uh, they're talking about, they're killing Christians, so the West has to step in. It's all bullshit. It's all fake narrative. These motherfuckers, like I said, we have nobody honorable in our government. All of them are just sick pedophiles. If you see anybody supporting Israel over American, like they're sending our money to Israel when we got our own issues, we got homelessness issues, we got all of these corporations screwing us, and they're usually like the Sacklers, who are the only people who uh, got some heat. None of them face jail time, but they acknowledge that the opioid epidemic was furthered by them and their greed. Yeah, they were all in support of the war in Afghanistan, which had all the poppy. Their business was based in Israel. They were Zionists, so it's like, yeah, the Chinese, they had an opium war against Britain. Britain knew what they were doing when they were sending the opiates to make the Chinese population docile, get them addicted to all that shit. And Israel is a colony of Britain, and they understood that history, and they view us as an enemy. And what they did to us is similar to what the Brits did to China. They got us addicted to opiates. Now we got fentanyl epidemics in every major city across the nation. And instead of addressing that, we're giving money to the country that did it to us. It's not America's greatest ally; it's America's greatest enemy. And they turn our politicians into weapons. And it's just like we need to make sure all pedophiles suffer instead of causing us to suffer. So it's just like we shouldn't have anybody who's on Epstein Island telling us, "Oh, well, we got a new pandemic coming. Here's how we're going to roll out the shots, mandatory vaccinations. I know you want healthcare for all, but we're going to give you these mandatory shots." You shouldn't have any say in any part of our life. You need to be locked up. You are a traitorous piece of garbage. Um, and yeah, we need to bring you to justice any way possible. Anyway, send them to Iran. If the guillotine people can make a more persuasive argument than I on turning their lives of poverty into a reality TV show, so be it. As long as we arrive at a democratic process of actually dealing with our pedophile problem. Stop calling these motherfuckers elite. They're not. They're disgusting. Palantir is the successor of Epstein's 20th century blackmail tactics. Yes, it is. Palantir, and the dude who is the face of it right now, what's his name? Gray haired, looks like a just like he stole Rick and Morty, or Rick's look from Rick and Morty. But he's the face of Palantir. You look at the engineers; they don't look like him. He's one of those people easy to blackmail. He's like in the club. He's doing the disgusting stuff that they got proof of him doing. That's why he's allowed to have that kind of power and be the face. But all of these billionaires, they just unveil stuff that the government has been working on. Like, get it out of your mind that they're smart. Get it out of your mind that they're better than you in any way. Stop calling them elite. They are not elite. They are despicable, and they think they're better. Like I truly believe they think they're better, but they are not. And yeah, Palantir. Whew, they got some atonement to do. He was like, this cat was like saying, yeah, we're going to killing people is a part of his business model. He was talking about one of his purposes is having drones filled with fentanyl laced urine, so the people who are critical of him. He's like, yeah, we got to kill people. This is something that you feel comfortable doing. And now they want fully autonomous robots that do not answer to humans. They could just go off and just kill someone without questioning anything. There's not a final say by a human. It's just like, and that's completely unaccountable murder. That's Terminator shit. And this is why we got to start an alliance with China, because not only are their robots more advanced, but their robots are more moral. They wouldn't allow that kind of shit. And it's just like if I told you all you have to do is just do away with your dollars, convert them to bricks bucks, and they can have like a hard limit, like you could only convert the first $10 million to bricks money. That's to avoid like people who have hundreds of billions of dollars converting. Like, you guys made this currency worthless. Well, yeah, you just burn it. Like, you should never have more money than an entire nation. Like, enough money to be above the law. That's our issue. Motherfuckers who have so much money, like when they start getting prosecuted for real crimes, they just buy off for everybody and they avoid justice. Just like, why don't we have like a system where it's just like, okay, you got bribed. I understand it's tempting to take the money. I wish we had principled people who were above that. But like, what if we were like, okay, you bring this person to justice, you take that bribe that they gave you, and we double it, because we're going to be liquidating all their funds anyway. They gave you a small percentage of the interest they make on their money, so it's nothing. So you bring them to justice, we just double that. Oh, you want to kill like a righteous politician who's actually trying to see change? Well, what if we take the assassination money and we double that? We're going to be locking up these trillionaires anyway. I mean, if we really want to see change, we're going to have to figure out some policy that takes into account the massive corruption from people who have more money than entire countries. Nate, please tell me your Rumble channel name. Nateflix. Nateflix. Rumble.com/Nateflix. Mossad allegedly threatened Elon Musk with sacrificing his son by Jewish baby mama if she didn't get on board with social media censorship agenda. I don't think he cares about life that much. Didn't he disown his son after changing to a daughter or something? I mean, maybe. I think there's a link between South Africa and Israel. When they started to go after the South African regime, and there was some accountability. a lot of the South Africans, they moved to Israel. And then when they made that move, they brought the apartheid system to Israel. But then they claimed to be the victims. This is the one thing you really don't want: rich white people who can pretend to be victims. You know, just like, yeah, are you persecuting? Why? Because I'm Jewish. I'm transgender Jewish, so I can't kill and eat babies. You're anti-Semitic. You're a transphobe. What? So I can't commit a genocide? Wow, that's very hateful. Yeah, no. This is I you know I they're inextricably linked. It's a they got that and plus I know as the South Africa was originally colonized by the Dutch, but then the English moved in there beginning of the 20th century, and yeah, they got a particular they just all English colonies just rub me the wrong way. It's the arrogance and the entitlement. And it's just like, your Bill Gates types, like motherfuckers who just look like you're clearly inferior, and you're talking down to other people like they're your inferior. It offends the senses, the sheer caucasity of everything. India and Israel have theological bonds that tie back to calf worship. Many Hindus are fascinated by the red heifer Israel wants. I mean that may be a part of it. I feel like that's how they may win over some of the masses, like the true believers. But when we start getting to the top of any organization, it's like I don't believe the anyone at the top of Israel's government who's like really calling the shots. I don't think they're religious at all. I mean, I think they may use certain talking points to win over the dupes, useful idiots, but just like I don't think we have Christians running America, you know. If Christianity can lead you to cause genocide and murder and like what the God you're worshiping is Satan. If genocide and that kind of mass casualty events is okay, and rape and child sacrifice, this is who you are, like they have a public facade, and then they have the Epstein side where it's just like, I think the Epstein side is who they really are. And they'll say whatever. And it's same with the Hindus, like, because it's not like the Epstein files was completely without brown people. It's just like brown people who are closely connected to the Western government who have been thoroughly corrupted. Um, and they normalize the Western culture. Whenever every time they talk about Western culture, Western values, that's what they're talking about. Pedophilia, power over people to be able to just be held unaccountable for vile, vile shit. Alex Karp, yeah, that's the name of the cat. Alex Karp, just we just talk about like the West has nothing. You can't go around wagging your finger at anyone. It's like one of the things that just rubbed me the wrong way. Like ever since this, I mean, even before the war was every time we talk about another dictator, we talk about some vile person over there. At no point do we like take that kind of scrutiny towards our own leadership. I don't call them leadership. The rulers, they don't lead shit. Khomeini, he died because he didn't seek shelter. He stayed in his bunker because his people didn't have shelter. So he's like, they don't have it. I don't need it either. And he died. He went down with the ship. Right. That rallied millions of people to show up. Right. Netanyahu, this motherfucker tried to flee to Germany, but he was intercepted by Hamas and he was tortured for 2 days, being waterboarded with feces water from porta potties that were catering to a music festival, and he ended up dying. But he was being tortured for 48 hours before that happened. R.I.P. to Netanyahu. But he was trying to leave the country to avoid accountability. Because he's not a man of honor. Trump is not a man of honor. This motherfucker, he sends people off to die in wars that he would avoid, you know. And Trump, I really do think is maybe he had some genuine anti-war sentiment, you know, that he was expressing. He was able to win over a lot of people with what he, at least he was verbally against the war. His video of Hillary Clinton, this is why I say Hillary was worse. She was talking about she would go to war with Iran immediately.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them.
Totally obliterate them, in case you didn't hear that. She said, well, as soon as she becomes president, she said she wants to strike Iran. You know, she did similar stuff. She was a Secretary of State under Barack Obama. She went into Libya. She had Muammar Gaddafi killed, laughed about it as they unleashed slavery back in Africa. Muammar Gaddafi, when her husband was president, tried to give black people $1 billion. Muammar Gaddafi, he gave everyone a house. He gave $50,000 to, you know, couples as soon as they got married. He was having a gold-backed currency that was going to be uplifting all of Africa. But yeah, she viewed him as a terrorist. And according to Frazzled Rip, it's like a video out of her cutting a child's face off and wearing it. Her and Uma Abedin, Wiener's wife. Yeah, so can I believe that when she talks about like she wants to obliterate Iran? Absolutely. These people are disgusting. These people are horrible people. And there was a video of Hillary. She was talking to, she was being questioned about her ties with Epstein. She was like, I never met him. Like, then they were like asking her, they were like, why was Ghislaine Maxwell at your wedding, your daughter's wedding? And she was like, oh, well, she was a plus one. She was just a plus one. Like, so she was like really just playing it down. And then there was a video of Bill Clinton. He was like looking through the photos of him and Epstein and him on the Epstein Island. And he had like naked young women swimming around him. And he was just like, he was looking at them so fondly. He was just like, oh, going down memory lane, looking at the pictures. And it was obvious to everyone to the point where his lawyer had to step in and take the photos away from him. Like, oh, this is a real problem. Like, you are just giving off that creepy pedophile vibe. You're looking at yourself molesting kids and you're smiling contently. Like, this brings you comfort. It's like, it feels like home when you look at those pictures. And yeah, so these are disgusting people. So it's just, is it too hard to believe that someone like Hillary can take a child who's cuffed to a bed and, cut off her face and then wear it in front of her, frazzling her until, her adrenaline is to a point where it becomes drinkable and adrenochrome, and that keeps her young. I don't know. She doesn't look very young, but it's all kinds of shit. It was what's her name? Ellen DeGeneres. Like they showed photos of her after giving up her show. Like she looked like she aged 100 years. And her eyes were all red. Like she looks, it's scary. She looks like a demon. And then people were talking about in the files. It was mentioned that she was like one of the uh, most infamous cannibals in all of Hollywood. And I'm like, well, maybe it was that adrenochrome keeping her young because she got away from her supply. And like that, she aged like a motherfucker. I don't know. And it's like employee evaluations, it was like a couple who was drinking blood and they considered themselves vampires. It was like a bunch of poor British people. And after evaluating that, is it hard to believe that, really rich people with unlimited resources can, get some premium blood, like the blood of virgins and children? I don't know. I mean, I can believe anything at this point when Hillary Clinton is still on the loose.
Terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that. Because
those people that run Iran need to understand. Those people who run our country, they need to understand something. They need to understand accountability. And like, it's just, if you see anybody who's mentioned on the Epstein files, I'll make the offer again. If you can film yourself bringing them to justice, getting a group of friends and buying a ticket, or I'll pay for the ticket if you want to send them to Iran or Venezuela or China to face justice. Or, if you could figure out some kind of a other way of bringing them to justice where they're no longer a threat to us. I'll let you decide on how to neutralize them as a threat. But if you decide to send proof of you neutralizing one of those Epstein threats, you'll get a special prize. You'll get a radically threaded package. So it includes some gear, some armor, whatever you want. But yeah, we just film yourself neutralizing one of those threats, and I got you. Oh, and this is something I neglected to play earlier, but we were on the subject of Bill Gates and like the contentment or that he finds in just telling us how to live our lives, and the contempt he has towards the everyday people, thinking he's better than other people. This is him saying that we don't need, in 2 to 3 years, society will be better off because we won't have so many humans.
I'm already right now, and sometimes it seems a little soft. It's gotten a little softer. Do you think that's a function of AI?
Maybe not to date, but 2 years from now, 4 years from now, particularly in the white collar area, yes. The world will be more efficient. That'll free up resources to do other things. As robots come along, then you'll see the same thing over in the blue collar space. As autonomous driving comes along, you'll see that in that particular vertical. And so productivity will go up, and we get to decide, do we do new things? Do we reduce work week? Do we let people retire earlier? Eventually, society is better off.
And we look at employment already right now, and
society is better off. It's just like the first thing that we could have AI and robots replace. I think it's like the board, the CEOs of all these major corporations. There's literally no need for them aside from greed and extortion, theft of the resources that are accumulated by the people at the bottom. It's just like that would be the easiest thing to replace. These worthless motherfuckers. But we get it in our head that we need them to make these decisions that affect us. And it's just like if they were actually being useful and they were actually earning the thousands of times of amount of money that the people at the bottom make, So they were actually earning. They wouldn't have time to be spending so much time on Epstein Island. Right? If Bill Gates actually invented everything that he patented, he wouldn't have been able to correspond with Jeffrey Epstein so much. He wouldn't have been able to get so many STDs from so many underage Russian sex workers. Like he would be busy in a lab. He'd be creating. He'd be like doing something useful, but he's not. And he's telling other people like what's going to happen, what the deal is when he hasn't contributed anything of value to our society. They might be, oh, what about Windows? He didn't make it, right? He creates these models of extortion where it's just like you don't own anything, you don't own the app, you have to pay a continued service fee for being able to use it, right? When the developers used to give you an app, I remember before Android, before Apple, the iPhone used to be. I used to have smartphones that had apps that did everything that like 5 or 6 different apps with paid service or ads in it could do, and it would be like a free app, and you had the option to tip the developer, but like you would get an app and you would own the app, and you wouldn't have to worry about like some change where it's just like now it's freemium and you got to pay for the one function now. And it's just like you used to be able to own it and just be done with it. Now it's just like it is people like him. They just create ways of extorting people. You know, like it was last time. Well, it was a few years ago. I was looking to get away from uh, Apple entirely. I was looking at a Windows computer, you know, like they had the Surface and all that shit. And then, but you know, one of the things I really needed was editing software. All of their editing software was, it's not like, you know, Apple, you pay for a one-time fee and then you get to own it. It was like everything was monthly. It was like a monthly service fee. I had friends who had ways around that where it's just like they had a computer that was not online and they had like some uh different version of you know, like the Adobe suites and shit like that. It was like modded in a way, but it's like I couldn't do that. So it's just like I ended up just avoiding that. But it's like a fucked up model for everything, and that's what Bill Gates does. He's not like an actual, like I said, he doesn't create anything of value. He just figures out ways to extort you, and he extorts our politicians. Like they go to the Epstein stuff, and I truly believe they have team building exercises, and they're like, let's go to the Virgin Islands, and you get out there, and then he gets you he videotapes you having sex with someone who you assume is of age and it's a child, and then you're being blackmailed, or he'll kill you, or both, maybe both, and make it look like a suicide. Sup, Nate Dogg? How goes it, Leonard? Good to have you, baby. You're just a baby boy. Mm. And to be clear, because right now they're talking about boots on the ground in Iran, which would be crazy. Iran is many times larger than Iraq, and they've already proven they have more firepower. It's mostly hills, and plus it's an ancient civilization. When I say ancient, I mean Europeans can't comprehend how far it goes back, because Europe is like, you know, the Caucasian is about 5-ish thousand years old, 5 to 6,000. The Persian Empire, Iran is about 5,000 years old, and yeah, I mean, and actually look at it, it goes back further, because before Alexander the Great, you had Darius the Great. He was able to infiltrate the Kemetic Empire, which became known as Egypt. But like the Persians, they're the OG Aryans. Like they're a little toastier than the regular white people because they were in the Caucasus Mountains, but they were, they got out before the last ice age. Probably still cold, that's why they're lighter. But it's just a much older civilization. And if you look at all of the places that the European colonizers hit, they all have a history like older than anything in Europe. So Syria, all of Africa. You go to the Americas. It's just like they call it the end of history when the West takes over, because it's just like all the shit that existed beforehand is just like you were savages and we civilized you. And that's the narrative that they stick to. They get the Mossad to write the books, like Ghislaine Maxwell's dad and McGraw Hill. Like they rewrite everything so you can see an ancient African empire, and they want you to assume a white person built it. But this is what they do when they come to these ancient civilizations, when they're liberating the people of Iraq and Iran and all these brown countries.
Fucking dude, anyone with a fucking rag on their head is fair game. Girl, she's probably 15 years old. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's not body on that girl, but really tight. They always wear it like you can't see it, right? I haven't been touched yet. She was fucking crying. Oh,
virgin.
So guys, he started pimping her out for 50
Pimping
years.
out a virgin.
At the end of the day, made like $500 before she hung herself. Yeah. She hung herself? How's come she hung herself? I don't know. She wasn't happy. It was culture. It's really shunned upon. She get raped. I guess she would have been stoned to death anyways by her people. Yeah. So, well, she was fucked anyway, I guess. Yeah. Like, in more ways than.
Okay.
Fuck them, dude. Anyone with a fucking rag on their head is fair game. Girl.
Anyone with a rag on their head was fair game. These motherfuckers are bragging about pimping out a 15-year-old virgin. He said he made $500 pimping her out, $50 a pop, and then she hung herself. And they're laughing about that shit. And these are the ones bringing civilization to these savages. That shit is crazy. And it also explains why we got such a high suicide rate. And it also, like, whenever I never say, oh, thank you for your service to anyone who's military, because most of my family's military. So it's just like, I don't know what you were doing. There's motherfuckers who got necklaces of people's ears. I would never say that. Like, I don't know what kind of person you are. Some people, like, they join up with the noble intentions of saving the country, like they really believe the propaganda. Some people, they just really want to kill brown people. They just want to go out and pimp. It was a cat. He was talking about, like, oh man, if I go over there, I got a thing for brown women. I don't know what I'm likely to do, and he's just talking about openly, just like, yeah, casually. I'll mention I'll probably rape some women when I get over there. It's like that. This is a sickness. What do you think of Jews who assume leadership of leftist movements and organizations across America by claiming closer connections to Marx and Lenin and Trotsky, who were also Jewish? I was kind of talking about this. A lot of these organizations, like, we talk about, like, black legacy organizations, NAACP, Urban League, right? NAACP, it was a white dude or a black guy who looked white. His name was Walter White, ironically, not connected with Breaking Bad. But, he was always at loggerheads with W.E.B. Du Bois, right? And it's just kind of like it was founded by Zionists. I mean, a lot of these organizations, and then they were able to talk about like this connection with black people and the black man and the Jew. Really, there is a connection because the Jewish people, they were claiming the history of black people. They're like, yeah, that was us. That's our people. That's why they're claiming that land in Palestine. Because Palestinians weren't the first there. True, right? Who was there first? Some black people, right? It was not like people like, oh, they had a yarmulke and they were not white, right? But they're the people over there who are still in the land. They're uh, confiscating their history, and they're using that to steal the land. And it's just kind of like I have a professor. He was a teacher for the Black Panthers. He never joined the organization properly, but he was he helped with one of their educational aspects of the program, and he knew Stokely Carmichael before he joined the Panthers, and he was when he was with SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He said Stokely knew the organization was over because it was filled with a bunch of white people who thought they should be leaders. Right? They didn't want to take orders from a black person. They were like, "Nah, I need to be the leader of this shit." And yeah, a lot of those people, I don't know their religious background, but like I said, I don't think religion matters for a lot of these motherfuckers. Like when someone talks about they're Jewish, they're Christian. It's just like I should be in charge, right? Like Malcolm X, he said the difference between white people in America and white people in other countries. Like someone can say, I'm white in another country, and it's just an identifier. It's like everyone else is dark skinned. It's like I'm white skinned, and it's just like not a big thing. In America, it means I'm boss, right? Now we start talking about some of these Zionists, the Jews. Oh man, I wish I could pull that video up right now. It was a cat. He was talking about how you Christians, you guys are worshiping one guy, Jesus. He's like he's Jewish. You should be worshiping all Jews because we all died for your sins, right? And they got like all kinds of just crazy, like they're the chosen people, Ubermensch. It's like a psychology of the entitlement. They train from a young age to think that they're better than everybody. That's why it's just like the videos of and I think I got one of them, but the videos of them in Palestine, they make you just wish. I wish I would run into one of them and them try to do that to me. Oh boy. Is that not? That's wild. I have to find it later. But this is the video I was talking about earlier, though. The Bill Clinton, when he was looking at the photos of the Epstein, his lawyer took the photos away because he was just too trapped in memory lane. Okay.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you.
Oh, and if you haven't seen it, it's like a video of a soldier who was against the war with Iran. He was making his voice heard. He was dragged out and his arm was broken. And that shit is hard to watch. But yeah, we claim to care so much about our soldiers, and until they use their freedom of speech that they were fighting for, then they get dragged out, treated like a dog, and have their arms snapped by authoritarians who don't give a shit about them because they don't really care about us. All I want to say. But this is I came across, it was like a video from like the early 2000s, 2004, where it was, I think it was an imam who was predicting everything we're seeing right now going on with Israel.
And I'm saying to you, if you look at the world of money, you would see the writing is on the wall. So the Bretton Woods Accord is collapsing. It is already collapsed. And a new international monetary system is around the corner, in which the US dollar will disappear. And when the US dollar crashes, the American economy will crash with it. I want to suggest to you that the September 11 attack on America bears an uncanny similarity to the terrorist attack of the summer of 1914. And that the events which are now unfolding in the world, the attack on Afghanistan, the attack on Iraq, the new American imperium that is taking over the world, are all meant to serve one mission: to pave the way for the state of Israel to wage a big war. And as a consequence of that big war that Israel is going to wage, the territory of the state of Israel is going to dramatically expand to encompass the biblical frontiers of Israel, of the Holy Land. Bible says, from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. That's not true. The Holy Land does not exist from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. That is false. But it's there in the Bible. And so Israel has to wage a big war which will dramatically expand the territory of the state so that Israel will control the Suez Canal. And Israel will control the oil of the Gulf tomorrow. And there will be a concomitant attack on the US dollar. And the US dollar collapses. And when it collapses, it will bring down the whole world of paper money with it. When Israel wages that big war, I expect that Israel will unleash weapons of warfare we've never seen before. And at the end of it, Israel will take over from the United States as a new ruling state in the world. But Israel cannot wage that war while still there are any significant obstacles in the way. And now put on your thinking caps. Which is the most significant obstacle which still stands in the way of Israel waging a big war? And it is Pakistan's nuclear weapons capacity. And coupled with that is Iran's missile capacity. And so all the hullabaloo we're going through now, all the maneuverings on the chessboard of the world, when Israel wages that big war and replaces the United States as a ruling state in the world, the first ruling state was Britain. The second ruling state was the United States. The third and the last will be this imposter, the state of Israel. I am suggesting to you that the child of the Antichrist would now have completed stage 2, a day which is like a month, and will be commencing stage 3, a day which is like a week, meaning a much shorter period of time. It is at this time that terrorism reaches its climax. They have declared that they're going to continue killing all those who dare to lift their hands against the state of Israel. This is the biggest terrorist of all in the world. But CNN will never tell you that. And I'm saying to you, if you look at the world of money.
And the biggest terrorist of all in the world, Israel. I love it. I mean, he called them imposters. That's what I was just done saying. Imposters. They're still in the history of the people who were actually from that region, which is not them. Like, you know, it's just like someone coming to your house and be like, you know what, this is my house. And be like, why is it your house? Because, you know, look at the previous owners. We have the same hat. We both got on the same kinds of shoes, but you look nothing like them. And it's just like, even if that was the case, like, you know, which, you know, I'm not saying I buy into your logic, but even if I did, you look nothing like them. You are not the descendant. Give me a blood test. Prove you are the descendants of the people who you say you are. That's anti-Semitism. Like, motherfucker, you say you have a blood right to this land, and you're reading from this dumbass book. The Bible is blasphemy, right? It's written by a slaver, right? He bastardized all of the information, the text, and it's like multiple times removed from even the original ripoff, you know, from the Romans version. They took the same playbook, you know, because the British Empire, that's the Second Reich. First Reich was the Holy Roman Empire. Then Hitler, they said that they're the Third Reich. America, Israel combo with the Fourth Reich. But we're all just in the same family of just theft of not just land, not just life, not just resources, but history. And the Israelis are the shameless imposters. And it's just, once again, it's the Bill Gates syndrome. When you look at like the people who say that they are the chosen by God, let's look at what they look like. I know I got it. Let's look at these chosen people. So superior. Oh.
Do you see Jews and non-Jews as the same? כאילו שווה ערך.
No.
Okay, explain.
I see Jews as the chosen nation.
Okay.
They were chosen by Hashem.
Does it make Jews better?
Makes Jews different.
Okay.
Like, so, not all of our body parts are the same.
Yes, your body parts are in children.
Parts of the body, but there's the mind, there's the heart, there's the foot. They're not all the same. They're all part of the same body.
Do they deserve the same rights? Let's put it that way.
But
Jews, non-Jews, anyone who lives here, let's say, does everyone deserve the same? You treated the same? Let's put it that way.
I think not. I think that this is the nation of the Jews, that the Jews should have more rights than the non-Jews.
Like, give me an example of a right that a Jew should have that a non-Jew shouldn't.
Right now, I think that Jews should get land here, like the Bible says that each Jew, when Yeshua came, that the Jews to Israel, each one got his own plot of land. So I think that each Jew should get his
the Bible. Yeah, the Bible is not your friend. I encourage anybody out there, you like actually read the Bible, and you like look to it for guidance. Stop it. Well, maybe let me just say King James version of the Bible. If you're looking at the Ethiopian Bible and it's teaching you, morals, values, it's teaching you how to, structure a day. It has something of substance. The King James Bible, it was beaten into you and your ancestors. And your ancestors had to pretend to like it to get freedom. That was like one of the things is like, well, if I let you free, nigger, you're going to have to keep reading this here Bible. Motherfuckers used to go to the courthouse and use Bible scripture, to justify like changes in laws. But the Bible was forced onto you. And it was just like, the people who were forcing it onto you, they didn't abide by that shit. Motherfuckers didn't get the values. And maybe they were reading the part of the Bible. It's like, well, you guys are cursed with the ham. That's why you guys are just slaves. And I'm the slaver. You got to listen to your master, boy. And it's just like they viewed themselves as superior. They have that same mentality, right? And it's just like the people who say they're Jewish, who are just stealing land and they think they're entitled to the Palestinian land. I got the same disdain for them as the people who say they're Christian and continue genocide and theft of land and false sense of superiority. We need to view it like you guys are disgusting. You guys are just need to be brought to justice. Pedophiles should suffer. They shouldn't cause suffering. So play your part. You see one of the Epstein files, facilitators of sex trafficking of children. Do what you can to bring them to justice. Share the justice video with me, and I'll give you a surprise. So don't forget to be good to each other. Appreciate you guys for showing up. Toodles.